Well, I'm Dr. Boyce Watkins. Welcome to the Black Financial Channel. This is our daily financial news and commentary platform where you get daily financial news and commentary from a black perspective. And all right, baby, have a good day. So today we have the wonderful opportunity to enjoy what we know as Powernomics Thursday. And Powernomics Thursday is the day that we get the opportunity to speak with the one and only Dr. Claud Anderson. Dr. Anderson is the author of the books Powernomics, Black Labor, White Wealth, The Black History Reader, and Dirty Little Secrets 1 and 2. His website is powernomics.com. And you guys know him, and I hope you guys will greet him as you come through the door because we must show respect to those who came before us and clear the path for us to be who we are today. So everybody in the chat, please join me right now in giving a digital welcome to my good friend and respected colleague, Dr. Claud Anderson. How you doing today, sir?
I'm fine. I'm glad to see you back in front of the mic.
Yeah, well, I'm glad to see you again, my friend. And I'll tell you what, everybody in here is happy to see you as well. They are always excited. They always ask me about you all throughout the week, and they love coming in here because it's their opportunity to really hear the history that they didn't get in school. And I know you're an expert on that. And so as everybody comes in, shout out the city that you're from. Please shout out what city you're from. Also, please hit that thumbs up button and things like that. And hello to everybody on Instagram. If you want to follow us on Instagram, the Black Financial Channel is on Instagram. You can find it there by looking up the Black Financial Channel. And also you can follow the Real Boyce Watkins. So Dr. Anderson, let's get started. I want to tell you this. I went to see you a couple weeks ago, and we had some extensive conversations about Africa. I told you that I was headed to Ghana in the next couple of days, and we had some conversations about that, which remain between us. I feel like our conversations are between us, but you have some strong thoughts in terms of Africa and things that happened in Africa that sort of preceded the situation that we're in the United States, and so in terms of where we can begin, as one of the world's leading experts on the topic of reparations and black economic power or lack thereof, I'd like to ask you this. Let's start with the basics. In your book, The Black History Reader, you talk about this concept, and let me know in the chat if you guys have heard about this. It is the doctrine of unequal exchange. The doctrine of unequal exchange, which, based on my reading of your books, I got the impression that you feel that this formed the foundation of what became a growing wealth gap amongst races, not just in the United States, but in terms of Europeans gaining control of resources all throughout the world and in parts of Africa. Can you talk about the doctrine of unequal exchange and help us understand where you're coming from with that?
Well, the doctrine of unequal exchange went into effect about the same time slavery did. That was about the 1500s, and where people all of a sudden in the European society in particular decided somehow they're going to enrich themselves and practice capitalism. Capitalism, I said to you before, means owning control of the tools, the land, the resources, and using other people's labor. Using other people's labor to enrich yourself. That's the doctrine of unequal exchange. Again, you own the land, the tools, and the resources, but you use other people's labor to enrich yourselves. That's what was put on black folk. That's why when they decided to go to enrich themselves by coming to the Americas, they said we got to have somebody that we can use as a tool for enriching ourselves. And so they decided at that point in time that let's choose black folk who were just the opposite, because we can identify those people because of skin color versus our white skin. We recognize them for dark skin. So they began to go to Africa to pick up those blacks. And they started going there, they were picking up black folk off the coast by ships pulling up around the coast, like Henry the Navigator in the 1600s. He was pulling up around the coast of Africa. He found out that black folk were attracted to clothing, to certain colors. Certain colors would attract black folk, like red, yellow, and green colors. The blacks are always attracted to bright colors. And so he would take a whole bunch of clothes over there, cloth rather, and pull up on the beach and start waving all this cloth and offer to give it to the damn different African tribes. And they would come down to the beach to see him. And as they showed up, he just captured them, put them on a boat, and brought them back. And for first 16 he got brought back. He took them and gave them to the Vatican, and they gave them to the Pope for the Catholic Church. So the first slaves that he brought back went into the church. And but black folk got nothing out of that. And all they got was a chance to maybe get a few pieces of colored cloth. And they kept going up and down the line doing the same thing. When they started enslaving black folk, bringing them to America. What they said is that we need that labor class. And I told you, wealth Wealth in this society was in labor. Because you're going to use the land. And so whites, so we come to this country and own, two classes of people come to America. Whites that would come to America as Europeans and be a wealth class, investor class. They would own all the land, the tools, and the resources. And then underneath that, we get a poor white group called the management class right underneath us that would manage those tools, land, and resources. And what's the last one? It's labor, and manage the labor. And so whites were put in as a labor class over black folk. And after 360 years of slavery, black folk got nothing from 360 years of labor. And what did they get in return? Nothing. And so the whites then took black folks' labor. That was wealth. When you stole black folks' wealth during 360 years of slavery, you stole their wealth. That's why black folk now got 0.5% of wealth in this country. Whites got 99%. And blacks never focus on that. Wealth is the key. Well, and where is blacks' wealth? Blacks' wealth is in white folks' businesses, in their corporations, their bank accounts, trust accounts, insurance policies, and inheritance clauses. That's where black wealth went, still locked and frozen in there. It's frozen into the white society. That was a doctrine of unequal exchange. They took it. What were some of the other things that they got? Now, you got your book, for instance, let's say you got the Black History Reader in front of you?
Yes, I sure do.
Okay, now go to page, go to page 84.
84, okay.
Now, and see those bullets there?
Yes.
Okay, now you can pick any of those bullets you want. And those are some of the bullets, the things that they took from black folk. For instance, blacks used to own about 25% of the land in Florida. When General Andrew Jackson went down there and captured all those blacks and started what they call the Trail of Tears, and hauled all those black folk out and shipped them with the Indians out to Oklahoma Territory, he stole the land that black folk owned in Florida under Adam and Owners Treaty, which means those black folk were entitled to own and control their own land in Florida. They were free. They were not slaves. Some of those blacks have been there for years. Some of them come in from the Bahamas. They were free people, owned land by Spanish land grants. But when Jackson went in there and captured all of them and committed a war, what's called the Three Seminole Wars, and captured all those blacks and put them, mixed them with the Seminole Indians and shipped them out to Oklahoma, he took all that land in North Florida and gave it to the slave owners in the United States, which was illegal, unconstitutional. He should have gone to prison for that. But he was rewarded again by them naming Jacksonville, Florida after him for having come in and stole all that land from blacks and giving it back to slave owners. That's the doctrine of unequal exchange. Blacks got nothing. They took it from them. If you look at that, those dots in the Black History Reader, same thing with black music. Blacks right now have a genius. Blacks have a genius for creating music. They started way back doing slavery on the slave ships. They did it again on the plantations every Saturday where they played the banjo, clapped their feet, pat their feet, patted their hands, and created music to entertain whites. They entertained whites. They got nothing out of it though. Whites then began to steal all blacks' music. They've been stealing black folk music ever since slavery. The blacks had a talent for creating language called slang. Whites take over all the slang from them. Blacks have a talent for creating clothing, just a sense of dress. They take that from them. Blacks never get anything for the value they bring to the table in this country to build its culture, its customs, and its wealth-building industries. And for instance, black folk now created jazz, blues, Dixieland, pop, rhythm and blues, and guess what? Now they whites took it over. Instead of being rhythm and blues, they changed it to rock and roll and put up a rock and roll museum in Ohio, which means black folk now they got to ask whites to be identified with their own music they stole from them. That's the doctrine of unequal exchange. Right now, in every black community in America, neighborhood in America, whites put up all the restaurants. They got the McDonald's, the Burger Kings, the Red Lobsters, all the rest of them belong to whites. They come into the black community and like Popeye's chicken and sell them food and stuff. Guess what? Blacks get practically nothing out of it. But they extract out 98% of every dollar out of the black community across America every day, Dr. Watkins. Every day the money is sucked out of the black community, goes into the white community. Blacks don't get anything for it. Let's go to another one, the black vote. Black folk right now make up 38 to 40% of the damn Democratic Party's votes. And yet you cannot find out one candidate in the history that's ever tried to single-handedly, since slavery in the 15th Amendment, try to do something in return specifically solely for black folk. They won't do it. The present candidates right now running for the President of the United States, you have not heard either the two of the black candidates, Senator Harris or Booker, talk about what they're going to do for black folk. But they want the black vote. And black folk make up 38 to 4% of the Democratic vote. Nobody has promised or mentioned their name at all. Yet they all talk about the importance of the black vote. That's the doctrine of unequal exchange. You keep screwing over black folk, taking from them, and you never give them a damn thing. You wonder why they're crippled. And every time you force them to say, why don't you do something for black folk? Doctrine of unequal exchange. Well, if we do something for everybody, that helps black folk indirectly. That ain't good for them. You didn't indirectly cripple everybody else and put them in slavery. You threw black folk into a ditch. You were very specific when you cripple black folk and threw them into a ditch. Now I want to ask you to come out and try to help give black folk wheelchairs. You said, well, I can't give black folk in the wheelchairs unless I give everybody a wheelchair. That's the doctrine of unequal exchange and BS. Nobody wants to do anything for black folk. They take for black folk, whether it's through businesses, through politics, through social, through culture. They take black folks' culture every day, never give them anything in return. That's the long and the short of it.
All right, everybody. I'm speaking with Dr. Claud Anderson. He's the author of the books Black Labor, White Wealth, Powernomics, Dirty Little Secrets 1 and 2, and the Black History Reader. His website is powernomics.com. That's powernomics.com. You guys can hear. Let me know if you understand what he's saying, if you follow it. Give me a yes in the chat if you get what he's saying and you understand the doctrine of unequal exchange, if he's explained it well enough that you understand it. Because I bet you anything that none of you have ever been taught this in school. I bet you anything that none of you went to a school that even talked about any of these concepts, and that helps you understand the world that's around you. Now, as we move forward, do me a favor. Please hit the thumbs up button. Please hit the thumbs up button if you haven't done this yet. Thumbs up. Also, subscribe. Subscribe to theblackfinancialchannel.com. We're broadcasting from theblackfinancialchannel.com. If you want to see Dr. Anderson directly, but also on Dr. Boyce TV. I see you guys over there. And also on Instagram. I want to say hello to everybody there. Please hit the thumbs up button because we're building black media. We want black intelligence to take over the world, and that's why we do what we do, and we do it every day. And so,
Dr. Watkins, let me give you a couple more examples before you jump off that subject.
Please.
Of examples of doctrine of unequal exchange. As an example, when the Revolutionary War started, the British came into this country, fighting to take over the country from the so-called Pilgrims of the colonists, and at that time the nation's capital was not Washington D.C., it was in Philadelphia. And when the British went up to burn down Philadelphia, the nation's capital, guess who went up there and saved it? They sent 800 black slaves to Philadelphia to beat the British, to stop them from burning down the capital. You know what black folk got out of that? They stayed in slavery. Then they came down, the British did the same thing with Washington, D.C. They're going to burn down Washington, D.C. They sent black slaves to save Washington, D.C., to keep the British from burning down Washington, D.C. What did the black folk get? Nothing, zero. And I can go on and on, that every time something comes up in the military, when I was a kid, and all the black soldiers went off to fight the war, for World War II, blacks drafted, and they would even arrest blacks that refused to draft in the World War II to go off to fight the Germans in all across Europe. Black men were drafted to go across Europe and fight either the Germans or go into the Pacific and fight the Japanese. But in my hometown, Wisconsin, as an example, they captured 287 German submarine members off the coast of North Carolina. Captured when they captured when the submarine was sunk. They took those German soldiers and put them into a concentration camp right there in Winston-Salem, North Carolina, on Fifth Avenue in Liberty City and Liberty Street in Winston-Salem. 287 German prisoners. Guess what? And those prisoners over there were treated better than the blacks living in that area. That those prisoners could go have free time on the weekend to go down to the white restaurants and to the white movie theaters and sit down with white people. That they could sit on the front of the bus, where Rosa Parks could not sit on the front of the bus. And when the black soldiers came back for World War II, those that didn't come back crippled, deaf and dumb, and beat up and shot, and in a body casket, guess what? In many cases, whites in the South would catch a black man wearing a military uniform. They lynched a lot of blacks for being caught wearing an American uniform after World War II. But guess what? Those German prisoners, the 287 German prisoners in Winston-Salem, North Carolina, who was captured in a German submarine off the coast, guess what? They were permitted to go free, and they didn't have to go back to Germany. They were treated better in the United States than all the black soldiers in the United States. So what I'm trying to say, that's the doctrine of unequal exchange. You give all, you get nothing.
Wow. Well, you know what? I'll tell you what. I don't know about y'all, but I know that this is a lot of this stuff I did not know, and I think it's very important that we know these things. So that actually moves me on to the next topic. And by the way, everybody, I'm talking to Dr. Claud Anderson. His books are Powernomics, Black Labor, White Wealth, The Black History Reader, Dirty Little Secrets 1 and 2. You can actually get his library pack for your family for Christmas. Invest in your family for Christmas. Don't just buy a bunch of toys. Go to powernomics.com and get the library pack for $99. You can get all of his books plus a DVD. Maybe you can give them out to your family members. Elevate the people around you. Don't just do well for yourself. Do well for those around you. And he comes in here every week. And he shows that he knows what he's talking about. He shows that he's second to none. Some of y'all got kids that spent $200,000 going to college and never got to learn from a man like this. And give me a yes or no if you agree that Dr. Claud Anderson's knowledge is more valuable than pretty much anything almost any white man has ever taught at a white university. Is it more important to go to a Stanford business school and to learn a bunch of European history, or is it more important to listen to people like Dr. Claud Anderson and learn Black American history and Black world history and Black economic strength, right? It's about learning the right things and becoming assets to your community. That's why a lot of us are frustrated. It's because we went to college, we spent all the money, gave white folks a bunch of money and said, educate me, and you still don't feel empowered. Well, that's because a smart oppressor is never going to educate you in a way that will help you overcome the oppression. So one thing I'll also mention with Dr. Anderson, we're going to make this announcement real soon. We finally struck an agreement, figured out, got on his schedule. We're going to do a Dr. Claud Anderson Powernomics masterclass in the Black Business School in early January. When that is announced, we will let you guys know on drboyceseminars.com. You can see all the other seminars that we have. Dr. Anderson's seminar will be added in there in the next couple of days. For right now, tonight, we have a seminar on how to make money as a government contractor. Another one's coming up from Castley, I can't remember his last name, Castley Johnson, I believe is his last name. Castley's going to teach on how to get your credit score right. So we have seminars at drboyceseminars.com, so feel free to check that out. Okay, so Dr. Anderson.
And Dr. Watkins and Doctrine of Unequal Exchange was finally linked in 1710, and what you talk about all the time is meritorious manumission. Which you said that we will reward you black folk, after we take everything from you. If you do one or two, three things, okay? One, that's called the Doctrine of Unequal Exchange, which came out of the 1705 slave codes, but in 1710 they put it into effect, called meritorious manumission. It started in South Carolina and spread throughout all the slave holding states. And you might have heard somebody like maybe Farrakhan talk about Willie Lynch, the Willie Lynch letter. There was no such thing as a Willie Lynch letter in those days. That was a fabricated letter put together. Most of that language in that Lynch letter, that language didn't even exist in that time. Now, most of that stuff was fabricated and written pretty much by somebody that's non-black. Anyway, meritorious manumission says that in 1710 says you can get something out of the things we're extracting out of it. You're picking all the cotton, the rice, the indigo. You're building the roads, the bridges, the highways. We will reward you. We will reward you. Finally give you black folks something if you do one of three things. One, if you get caught saving and recognized for saving a white person's life or the member of a white family, if you save them and rescue them, protect them, even if you sacrifice your own life, you can get meritorious manumission. Meritorious manumission, that meritorious means earned something. Your company earned, meritorious. Manumission meant freedom. So you can earn your freedom by saving a white person's life or members of his family. That's point one. Second thing you can get meritorious manumission for was producing something that enriched whites, that made whites rich and produced wealth and power and resources for them, that you could be rewarded with meritorious manumission. And on three, if that you would squeal on, tell on, and show and demonstrate where black folk were trying to plan or constitute a slave revolt, and let whites know in advance so they can put it down. So if you did one of those two or three things, you can get meritorious manumission. As a matter of fact, that movie came out a few years ago called, what's they call that Western, about Zanko or Zimko, what was his name? Where the black guy was,
yeah. Django, yeah.
And you see the black guy there was played the black guy behind the white slave master. Mm-hmm. He was working to get meritorious manumission, squeal on his own people, beating his own people, and the first thing you learn is meritorious manumission, and turn in your own people, learn how to beat the hell out of them. That's why the professional slave beaters on every plantation, they had a black person whose primary responsibility was to whip everybody other black folks' asses for not picking enough cotton, or being mistreated, mispicking cotton, or doing something that was negligent. And that's what also the book Harriet B. Stover wrote about Uncle Tom's Cabin. Again, where black folk were not doing what they're supposed to be doing, you have a Sambo and Gumbo to whip them. And also when they wanted to lynch a black in those days, they had a black person doing it. He got meritorious manumission for lynching other black people. So right now in this country, you see it going on every day. Watch it on TV. Every time something goes down where black folk are trying to come together and organize. Just take your subscribers right now. Terry, your subscribers right now. They decide to organize. They try to plan to be able to help black folk in this country. You're gonna have a provocateur in that group that immediately run out and try to tell white folk what you're up to and squeal, so you get meritorious manumission. All these black folk right now are running with a ball. They're baseball, football, basketball. They're nothing but employees for whites, helping white folks make money. The people that own all the damn stadiums. The people that are producing all the equipment, the basketball equipment, the baseball, the tennis ball, golf balls, and all the clothing, they are whites. You're enriching them. That's meritorious manumission for the blacks, but it's a doctrine of unequal exchange for the whites. You're still owning, controlling the resources and being enriched by your negligence and your ignorance and being comfortable in doing it in your own people. That's the difference between the doctrine of unequal exchange, where you get nothing, but you're being used, and a meritorious manumission with those blacks who volunteer to do it. They're watching when the election come up. All these black persons trying to get meritorious manumission, but trying to run campaigns for whites, not for blacks. See, people like Senator Harris and Senator Booker, they will get wiped out. They can't compete. You know why? I told you in a 5-story building, it's who owns the wealth controls an election. Voting is a damn illusion. It's a political social illusion. To give black folks somehow a pretense that they're going to be involved in something. It's a form of emotional masturbation. It relieves them, but it doesn't do a damn thing for them. Okay? So that's why so Booker and Harris will be knocked out. The people that control the politics are those who own and control the business of the production. Those who got meritorious manumission, those who will have nothing to gain but just symbolic. Those who practice the doctrine of unequal exchange will own the football stadiums, the baseball stadiums, and all the equipment. That's why this country got almost 600 white multi-billionaires. That's 600 white multi-billionaires who control the politics of this country. And black folk got out there and play that game. And that people, and the Bookers and the Harris would not be able to play the game. You got about 1 or 2 black billionaires in the country. They can't compete against almost 500, 600 white multi-billionaires. They control everything. It's a game. It's a game that black folk cannot win until they understand how to play the game. And that's why in the power numbers, I told you how to play the game. Get out of there, pull away from both parties. You got a Democratic Party that has done nothing for black folk. How are you going to win when the whole deck is stacked against black folk? You can't win in it. Because right now, you got number 10-1. That's the first thing. The Democratic Party has to try to change that. They still allow you to be the only nation's only planned minority. And right now, they're going to hold all the damn election in these big white areas in Iowa and other these white redneck areas and the Dakotas, where people get the issue put before white redneck conservatives, white folk first, so they can pick who's going to be the candidates. You're going to boil down to where you're going to have about 5 or 6 white males running for the presidency and maybe 2 white females running. That is it, which says that justice and wars and politics and benefits will only be seen through the eyes of whites. The deck is stacked like it was in a gambling casino. In a gambling casino, yes, you can go vote. I mean, you can go to right and play in a gambling casino, just like you can go vote. But if I tell you right now, as Dr. S has told you over and over again, that in a gambling casino, you cannot win. The casino owner will win every time, Dr. Watson, because he's got the machines rigged, the cards are marked, the dice are loaded. You go in and gamble as much you want to. I got friends that own casinos, and they tell you the casino owner will never lose. In politics, in voting, whites will always win. That's why they're going to vote these primaries in rural redneck areas and let them decide who the candidate should be. There will always be whites, either white women or white men. The blacks ain't got a snot chance. They don't have the money and resources because not one person, not one party has ever addressed the real issue in this country for racism. That was the maldistribution of all the resources that you love to see in black labor white wealth. You transferred everything into the hands of whites. Nobody's tried to correct it. Until you try to correct it, the doctrine of unequal exchange will continue to stay in effect. Black labor, white wealth. Black labor, white wealth. The game is rigged and stacked against you. That's the way I'm telling you about the doctrine of unequal exchange, and the blacks who think they're winning by practicing meritorious manumission.
All right. Everybody type black labor, white wealth in the chat if you get what we're saying. I see Veg typed it in here already. Everybody type black labor, white wealth. Black labor, white wealth. I think that really explains a lot. That's one of the best book titles I've ever seen. And Dr. Anderson's book called Black Labor, White Wealth. You can actually check it out at powernomics.com. So please type that in the chat to let me know that this is getting through our heads in terms of understanding how the system works. And it makes sense, right? If you see black people as being less than a human being, if you see black people to be like an animal, well, how do you see an animal? Do you do anything with that animal that is for the benefit of that animal? Or do you use the animal for the benefit of yourself, right? What do we do with animals? Do we do things to make animals' lives better? Do we care about animals? No. We use animals. We either eat them or we use them for work or travel or whatever it is, right? Let them carry us around on their back. They can haul a plow through a field. We only feed them so they can serve us better. We only feed them so that they taste better because they're fatter and juicier when we finally get around to slaughtering them. And so for black people, historically, Dr. Anderson, that's what I see. I see, through the eyes of America and American whites, and this is not anti-white, this is just pro-truth, we were seen as animals. And to this day, we still have a lot of that legacy that remains in that we are fattened up so that we will taste better when it's time to slaughter us. We are used to carry other people around. We carry water for the Democratic Party. We carry other people economically. We give away billions of dollars a year in free labor in the prison industrial complex, and we've got to get out of that, right? So your master is not going to care about you. You must first care about yourself, and then make your master care about you. And even if they never do, because you care about yourself, you'll be empowered to do something. Okay, so everybody in here who's watching, please hit the thumbs up button right now. Hit the thumbs up button, subscribe button, hit the notification bell, especially for the Black Financial Channel if you haven't done that yet. I don't know if you know this, Dr. Anderson, but we're growing the Black Financial Channel. It's one of the biggest black daily news and commentary channels anywhere. We're actually 4 times bigger than Black Enterprise now. We almost have 40,000 subscribers. I want more because we want to reach millions and millions of people with financial intelligence and financial literacy, and that's what we do. So, by the way, I want to mention Dr. Claud Anderson's website is powernomics.com. So please type powernomics.com in the chat so other people can see it as well. Dr. Anderson, let me ask you about this. Let's talk about Africa. Now, you and I talked a little bit about my trip to Ghana, and you gave me your thoughts on it. And of course, with me, I want you guys to know that I respect the OG all the way to the nth degree. I would take a bullet for this man. I have that much respect for him. And we talked about Africa and the history. And I remember reading in Black Labor, White Wealth, sort of how we got to the condition that we're in, and how the doctrine of unequal exchange began in Africa, and how we just even got to that point where dark skin was seen as inferior to white skin, etc. Can you speak to this idea? I asked you earlier, Dr. Anderson, but off the camera, and I'd love for you to address this now more thoroughly as you like. There are people that make the argument that there are some African countries that actually owe reparations to Black Americans too. That it's not just the United States that owes reparations, or just say the Catholic Church, which you actually exposed a lot of that in your book in terms of the Catholic Church's role in promoting slavery. But you've actually made the argument that there are African countries that owe Black Americans reparations as well. Can you kind of speak to that, please?
Well, yes, I will. There's a significant number of Black countries, African countries, not Black countries, but African countries that owe reparations to Black folk in America, because a lot of them participated in the enslavement process for Blacks in this country and around the world. They assisted the whites in capturing Black folk and selling them, because they had their own form of slavery in the earlier days. It was not the same kind of slavery that later subsequently developed by whites, but they did practice a form of slavery their own people. They did it for ego reasons. Some of these chiefs in these tribes would say, hey, I want to own these people for such and such a reason, blah, 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 blah. They were playing with slavery. But when white folks came in and started slaving Black folk in Africa, snatched them out of Africa, that was different. That was a mean, vicious, permanent, lifetime kind of slavery. But in the old days, some of those African villages did have some slave owners in there, but it was a temporary thing. It was more like a punishment against blacks for doing something in Africa. But more importantly, when all those Africans that did participate in it, they owned black folk in America. Because you see, blacks were enslaved in this country for 360 years, Dr. Watkins. And in that course of 360 years, while they're busy boasting about how blacks in Africa were the designers of some of the biggest architectural things, and they created a mathematical system. They did wonders. But if what black people doing all them damn wonders in Africa and then in Egypt, why in the hell did they send boats to America to recapture their people? If somebody were to capture 15 or 16 million of your people and enslave them for life in another country to work them to death and kill them and slaughter them, common sense will say, why don't you get on a day? If you can invent all these damn pyramids and sphinx and do all these wonderful things with mathematics and science, that you've done, we boast about today, why don't you build some boats and sail right across the damn ocean and capture those damn blacks and capture those whites and bring them back home? They could have ended slavery in 1 week if they just come across this country. You know why? Because blacks were made up of such a significant number of the population of this country up until the 1800s, where blacks were outnumbered in the South, they outnumbered whites 4-1. And all they do is hook up with the Indian. Some of those black countries had to send their troops over here to take over this country. Blacks would own America right now instead of whites. But the African nation never sent one damn boat to America to recapture their people. And then at the same time, they were helping enslave them. Yes, they owe black folk reparations too. That's why I don't call blacks in America African Americans. I call them Native Black Americans. They were cut out, disengaged, and deculturized. They were deculturized and stripped of all Africanness when they came to this country. They were seasoned for 3 months to make sure they never identify with Africa. And so they are different people. That's why I call them Native Blacks. And right now, African nations owe them just like they owe everybody else. So if you go into Africa, what I would say to those African countries, what I say when I was heading up trade missions there, the only way Africa is going to survive and be a prosperous nation and become a superpower, they got to cease playing games. Most of those African countries are playing stupid-ass games, identifying with black folk based on the same little BS stuff they were doing slavery, based on whether or not he belonged to your tribe or what religion he belonged to. That's stupid stuff in Africa. They're still doing it. They've been doing it for 360 years. I take you right now to any of those countries, like Kenya, for instance. You'll have 200 or 300 different damn languages spoken there, and all kind of tribes where they all fighting each other, cutting on each other, beating on each other, killing each other. Same thing in Nigeria, where you have 200 different tribes and 200 damn different languages. They're still fighting over religion and over tribalism. They can't come together. And while they're doing that, the damn Europeans are still abiding by the 1866 Berlin Conference, which means they're coming to Africa. The Europeans, white Europeans, still own and control almost all the resources in Africa. They've been doing it since 1886. They're playing games with you. Now, if I go down to South Africa, I got 29.5 million blacks people in South Africa, 2.5 million non-blacks. And guess what? Well, whites down there own almost 99% of all the resources in South Africa owned by non-blacks. As a matter of fact, one family, the Beers family, own all the damn diamond mines, gold mines, silver mines, owned by one white family. How the hell you going to start talking about you're going to do something in Africa when the white folks still own the resources? As I told you last time we talked, black folks need to concentrate on owning and controlling resources. And I go up to Kenya, for instance, and I say, who owns the damn all the tea plantations? It's still whites. Who owns all the gold and silver and chrome? Who owns all the copper up there in different places? It's all whites. So what black folk got to do in Africa is learn 4 things. One is you got to come together with blacks in America. Blacks in America got the greatest concentration of educated people that are black now are in America. 2, the greatest concentration of capital is for black owned is in America. The greatest concentration of skills for black people is in America. That's 3. But you need 4 things. You need 1 more, that's called resources. Most of the resources in this country are not in the hands of blacks, they're in the hands of Africa. The limited amount of money over there. So you got to put those 4 things together. You put those 4 things together, it's like a table. You got 4 legs on a table. They can stand now, you got a platform to deal with. Otherwise, going to Africa, you're playing games, you're massaging yourself. You got to own those 4 things. And blacks in America, must come to get into a strong economic position to be able to do exactly the same thing that Jews do, Dr. Watkins. Jews determine and set the policies for everything that affects Jews around the world. Black people right now say they own and control all these, got more power and resources than in those African nations. Blacks in America must start setting the policies that dictate for Jews, for black folk in the Caribbean, South America, and Africa, policies that affect them. Black folk in America must play a leadership role, but to do it, they must own and control wealth and power, just like Jews, and dictate policies for America to dictate them in Africa. You cannot go to Africa and get it. That ain't going to happen. Those Europeans are still controlling Africa, and now Chinese and Japanese are coming into Africa and taking over everything in Africa. And blacks down there, some of the foolish blacks who are nothing but strong people are giving the resources to them, giving the things. That's why South Africa's enacted a new constitution where they're giving affirmative action plans for business development to Chinese coming into South Africa, giving them jobs and activities and opportunities. And yet in that contract, the constitution is saying blacks are not eligible to get into these businesses in South Africa, only for Chinese and Japanese come into South Africa. You can't be that dumb unless you got a license.
All right, everybody, if you just came in, I'm talking to Dr. Claud Anderson. Dr. Anderson is the author of the books Powernomics, Black Labor, White Wealth, The Black History Reader, Dirty Little Secrets 1 and 2. His website is powernomics.com. That's powernomics.com. Hit the thumbs up button right now. Everybody right now, please hit the thumbs up button. And also, I want to acknowledge Dr. Pierre Louise. Thank you for your donation in the chat. If you make a donation in the super chat, I will mention your comment or your question or your business or your book or whatever it is. The name of Dr. Pierre Louise's book is called From Extreme Poverty to Success. From Extreme Poverty to Success. He makes donations in the chat, and then the trade that we do, which is the doctrine of equal exchange, is he actually he supports the platform, and then I mention his book, and people go buy his book, and his book gets out there in front of 50, 100,000 people just for a few dollars. So that's the trade that we make, and I'll do this with anybody who makes a little donation in the chat. If you mention the name of your business, your website, your YouTube channel, or whatever it is, I will mention it, and I will thank you publicly. So Dr. Pierre Louise, his book is called From Extreme Poverty to Success. Question, you'll kind of give me 1 second, guys. While I do that, please hit the thumbs up button and the subscribe and notification bell if you haven't done that yet. Dr. Anderson, can you hear me? Can you see me?
Yeah, I can hear you now. You went off for a while. I can hear you now.
Oh, okay. All right. We're back. Good. Okay. So let me ask you this final question then. I don't know if you know.
Let me jump in and make one point, then you can ask me a question. Going back to last week, a point you just made earlier, you were right on target a few minutes ago. In our initial discussion, you talked about how black folk, what was it now? You said how white folk, how they treated black folk, how black folk would feed them and all that stuff. They were like taking care of them. What was it? How did you say that again?
That basically almost like an animal, you fatten the animal up so that they be ready, so they'll be taste better when you finally slaughter them.
That's right. That's the point I wanted, and I was trying to relate that back to what I talked to you about last time. About you asked me when you called me over Thanksgiving, asked me about Thanksgiving, the history. You said, Dr. Could you get on me and talk about Thanksgiving, the origin of Thanksgiving, and its history, but in particular talk about all the symbolism, like about the pilgrims and the turkey and the Indians. Explain all that to me. Well, I could run through all that. I tried to run through that. I know it was a little bit confusion. Pilgrims who came into the country, they were nothing but Protestants coming in from northern countries in Europe, and they just try to set this whole religious bit. And they say they didn't change from pilgrims to colonists and into Europeans and now then to whites. But the point was that the turkey disappeared. And then when slavery started in the 1789, black folk became the turkey. They really tasted the turkey. When the pilgrims came to this country, they survived off what we call wild turkeys. I don't want to make it confusing again. I made it confusing to you last. When pilgrims came to this country in 1620 and landed in the Plymouth Rock, they survived for about 30 years off what they had to eat. That was stuff like corn. And there's an abundance of wild turkeys running loose. That's what kept them alive. But they didn't come here for religion, contrary to the myths that you see in about Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving was not a religious holiday. Pilgrims came here for enrichment, just like all the other European countries were coming here, period. But they came here and they say once they got here and found all the enrichment opportunities over here, they ceased to call themselves pilgrims, began to call themselves colonists. and they say colonists until the Constitution was developed. When the Constitution developed, by then most of the wild turkeys had been eaten, but then they replaced the wild turkeys to be able to survive off. It created slavery. Black folk became the wild turkey in this country. They became the turkey. They became to produce the wealth, the power. They were the one that fed white folk, produced the resources, the corn, the rice, everything, tobacco. They became the turkey. So when you start talking about Thanksgiving, the Pilgrims disappeared for a while. The wild turkey disappeared. Black folk came into place and supplanted the wild turkey. They became the people that generated the wealth and power in this country, that fed the society, kept it running. And you did not have a George Washington mentioned a holiday that never followed up on it. Lincoln then set up a Thanksgiving as it existed, and they right after the Civil War to try to pull the country back together again. He said, let's unite now and just start practicing ethno-aggregation and ethnocentrism. And we're going to try to have a holiday. We need a special holiday to reunite this country. And at that point in time, when they started, and we're going to have it called Thanksgiving. At that point, they brought back the whole concept, the illusion of a pilgrim. And they also brought back the whole concept about Indians. And then at that time, because the Indians then had been set free, declared an independent nation, and been given and been raised and elevated over blacks. But black folk became the turkey. Black folks are still the turkeys. It's been taking care of whites. You were hit the nail right on the head. Wild turkey disappeared way back after about less than 50, 60 years in this country, because the early colonists and pilgrims ate up all the wild turkeys. And after the wild turkeys disappeared, black slavery started. Black folk became the wild turkeys. And you see them sitting on the table for Thanksgiving. White folk are getting they're stuffing that turkey with Black Friday. Black folk are now still taking care of whites in the society and benefiting everybody. They're a platform for every immigrant to come in this country and make money and get enriched off of black folks' labor, their culture, and everything else. That's why ethnic groups can come in this country and surpass black folk like that. Black folk are they're still the wild turkeys in this country at Thanksgiving. And I'm just saying that and all the rest of the stuff is fables and myths that are created about Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving was not originated until by Abraham Lincoln after the Civil War, and they brought back the Pilgrims, the image of the wild turkeys. They brought back the Indians, because Indians now were classified as whites by 1890. Whites began to classify Indians as whites, and black folk became the turkey, and they're still the turkey.
All right, so everybody hear that? Give me a yes or no if you follow what he's saying. Give me a yes or no if you will no longer be the turkey. Yes or no? Are you going to stop being the turkey? Because I want y'all to make that verbal commitment to me now. Everybody type yes in the chat if today you will stop being the turkey and start sitting down to actually eat. You know, I want you guys at the table. I want you building the table. I want you controlling the table. And the person who owns the table ain't got to be served for dinner, right? So just keep that in mind. All right, so do me a favor, hit the thumbs up button. I want to say thank you to Black Rose 641 for your donation. I appreciate that very much. And I saw another donation from someone who made a comment. I want to find this so I can make sure. I want to say thank you, Black Mountain Hotep, for your donation as well. Black Mountain Hotep says, Sheikh Anta Diop writes about how slavery existed in Africa. Chancellor Williams about how Europeans started benefiting. Okay, thank you for that information, and thank you for your support. And anybody else who wants to support our growing media platform consistently, go to intelligentblackpeople.com. That's intelligentblackpeople.com. It's not a donation. We actually give you lots of free things and discounts and opportunities because you're a patron of the channel. So go to intelligentblackpeople.com, and that will help us grow and develop and push our media worldwide. Also, powernomics.com. Powernomics.com should be the educational home for every black person in America. I'm convinced of this. Go to powernomics.com, and for Christmas, this is the first baby step you could take. Don't just buy toys for your kids, because toys will last for a few months and they don't benefit the child. Get them education and get them investments. We have what we call the 5E philosophy, Dr. Anderson, which is that education plus economics plus expectations equals empowerment, right? So if you give your child education, the right education, black education, powernomics oriented education, and then you give them economic base, That means economic training as well as economic resources. And then 3, you set high expectations. Don't set these low expectations that we've had on our community since we went through the Holocaust of integration. Integration reduced the expectations. The integration set up situations where our kids have low expectations, which is why the black boys fill up the special ed classes. You need high expectations based on black excellence, where you push your children to be their best. So if you give them economics plus education plus economics plus expectations, that equals, that's the 4th E, empowerment. So if you want an empowered child, you got to build that, and you got to build it in your own home. You are the last line of defense for your children. The school system will not do this. So Christmas is coming. Go to powernomics.com, get some of those books, buy them for your loved ones too, right? Give them something that's going to make them better. 2, everybody go buy some shares of stock. I don't care if you buy $1 of stock. I want you to dig in the area. I don't know if you know this, Dr. Anderson, but our word, I want everybody to tell me, what is the word for the century that we believe in this channel? Somebody type it in the chat. What is the number 1 word I want you to recite to your family in this generation and the next that will help us to win the economic and educational battle for the 21st century? Does anybody know the word? Type it in the chat if you know our number 1 word. I see unity. No, that's a good one, but that's not it. Resources. Resources. That came from this man right here, Dr. Anderson. I asked him, I said, before you go on the Breakfast Club, which I think is in December, I said, if there was one thing you could tell all of Black America in 5 minutes that will change the trajectory of our lives, what would that word be? And he said the accumulation of resources, access to resources. Resources are out there. So don't just spend your money and give your money away. Use your money to acquire resources. Even if that means tomorrow you're going to buy you $1 worth of stock on Cash App. Well, that's $1 more than you owned yesterday. That's $1 that you didn't throw in the garbage. That's $1 that will grow into something else. And then you keep going. You $2, $10, $100, 1,000, 10,000, right? Over time, you will have resource. Dr. Anderson, I'm going to let you get the last word. I said a lot. I'm not even going to lay it out as a question. You the boss. I want you to just finish us up with whatever's on your mind, sir. What do you think?
You've done an excellent job. You covered about everything, and especially in terms of the Powernomics books. Tell them they get their own special. They can get all 5 of my books: Black Labor, White Wealth, Powernomics, 2 Dirty Little Secrets books, and the Black History Reader for $99. It's called a library pack. Once they get those 5 books, I guarantee you, there's nothing can come up pertaining to Black people that is not in those books. You've heard me say a number of times, like you asked me about Thanksgiving last week. I said to you then, Dr. Watkins, I told Black folk that in the first 300 years of this country's history, there's 5 out of every 6 people coming to America were Black people. Remember that. And that nothing has happened in this country that Black folk did not either directly cause or they were not directly involved in. That's why in those Dirty Little Secrets books, I got over 1,000 short stories of factoids, unknown secrets about what Black folk did, their achievements, and how they brought about the development of this country. 1,000 of those stories in those 2 books called Volume 1 and Volume 2 of the Black History Reader, the Black Dirty Little Secrets about Black history and Black heroes and other troublemakers. Those 2 books alone should be in every elementary school for Black children. And the Black Labor book and the Powernomics book should be in every high school and every college. And the Black History Reader should be on top of those books saying, here's the game, here's where you are. Let's start playing again, playing the game to win. You got to beat the social construct. And here's the concluding thing. I told you about the aura. The aura, the key is, as you just said, is owning and controlling resources. And that's why we are still impoverished, because we don't own any resources. And to be honest with you, Dred Scott decision says that Black folk have no rights that people are bound to respect. And so when the second Constitution was written, they said that in 1863 it would be called Reconstruction. There'll be a Reconstruction period, an era, running from 1865 to 1875. Reconstruction. Reconstruct. What does reconstruct mean? It means do something that was done wrong originally. It needs to be corrected. That's why I said in Black History Reader, the biggest problem in America right now is a social construct. A social construct. A social construct. Reconstruction period means correct that social construct that was put in place back in 1879 in the Constitution. Redo it. Redo it. That's why it's called Reconstruction period between in that 10-year period between 1865 and 1875, I've never found one black person that got a degree that understands that. Reconstruction means go back and change what you've done incorrectly and now reconstruct it. So break that social construct. And that's why you pick up the Black History Reader, it says we're still locked in that social construct. And then we locked into a social construct that defines how black folk can achieve. That all the resources, the land, the privilege, the right, the businesses, income, the wealth, would all be distributed into the hands of white people. That was a social construct. Reconstruct means change all of that. And yet you can't find one politician, one liberal, one racist, or one civil rights organization that understands that. It says, get out here and reconstruct. You didn't do it because it was killed off in the 10-year period between 1865 and 1875. That's why right now the Dred Scott decision is still active. It has never been changed because before it got a chance to be completed, nobody reconstructed because the United States Supreme Court and the northern whites and the southern whites got together and says, leave it like it is. So yes, the Dred Scott decision is still in existence. Nobody's ever reconstructed. And when you start thinking about R's, the two R's, one, resources, the point one, and the second thing is reconstruct. That's why I call it reconstruction. Okay, buddy?
All right. Yes, sir. We got it. We got it. Everybody, if you could, I hope that you will take 1 second and please give Dr. Anderson a digital round of applause, a digital acknowledgement, a thank you for giving us his time every Thursday. And also, I want you all to know that Dr. Anderson has agreed to do a masterclass in the Black Business School, a 6-week Powernomics masterclass in which we're going to go through all the keys and tools of Powernomics, but also answer all of your questions. And so what's going to happen is those of you who sign up for the masterclass, I will give you a link where you can submit your questions in advance. And Dr. Anderson, he and I will just go through all the questions and he'll answer as many, pretty much all of them. We'll just go through every question. And so we're going to have to limit the size and the number of people that we let in because I want to make sure everybody's question gets answered. So you'll hear about that soon. The website it'll be on is drboyceseminars.com. That's drboyceseminars.com. All the other events in the Black Business School, a lot of those events are at drboyceseminars.com. So go check that out if you want you and your family to learn. Second of all, Dr. Anderson's website is powernomics.com. That's where all his books are. That's where you can subscribe to his YouTube channel. That's where you can get the library pack for your family. And we mentioned this because any media out here, I don't care what media you're talking about, every media outlet has to have some type of corporate sponsorship. That's why when you watch Monday Night Football, it says brought to you by Ford trucks or whatever, right? Well, our corporate sponsorship can't be, Target and Walmart and General Electric. We can't come in and say, this is Black Power brought to you by McDonald's. That would seem tacky and they wouldn't support it and we wouldn't want them to support us. So what we do is we actually have things in the background that you can be a part of that will support and fuel the tens of thousands of dollars a month that it takes to expand and to push the message worldwide. So if you ever wonder, if you ever want to know why we mention, different things that you can actually use to add value to your house or to your home, it's because we are building an economic engine. We ain't begging nobody for nothing. We believe we can build on our own. And you guys watch us. You've seen us do probably about a couple 100,000 hours of content over the last several years. So you know that we ain't playing, that we are 100% for real, in it with both feet and there for you in every single way. And we want you to win. Okay, guys. So that's why that's the explanation in terms of how the model's working and what we're doing. And it is working, Dr. Anderson. I'm going to tell you, I think we hit about, if I'm not mistaken, I think we reach about 2 to 3 million people a month. Mostly black people, intelligent black people. So that's a niche. So that's like, so we're really becoming very powerful very quickly, and we're changing people's lives. That's the best part. We ain't just out here trying to be famous. We're out here trying to get people to change how we see everything and to find the keys to power. So I love you, Dr. Anderson. I have a lot of respect for you, and I want to say thank you once again for joining us today.
Well, thank you. As long as they buy those Powernomics books, I can stay on there at powernomics.com, and I can still be associated, identified, and work cooperatively with Dr. Boyce Watkins, as long as some resources are coming in here to keep us on the air, because right now, no white corporation is going to buy any time on the powernomics.com or Boyce Watkins, because they're saying they're too black. They talk about black folk. And then most of the media says that if you talk about black folk, you can never get a white dollar. And I don't care. I never, in the Powernomics Corporation and in the Harvest Institute, never in 27 years have we ever got one penny not one penny for whites, and also no money from these white wealthy black folk. And now I don't care about that. Doesn't bother me. Doesn't offend me. And I'm going to try to embarrass those Negroes and run them out of a ditch by embarrassing, saying you got to start setting up for your own people. And I got a contract shooting basketball and running with a ball. I get $300,000, $3 million a year. What do you say for black folk? Nothing. So I said, that's okay. Keep your money, because when the wagon comes to get the masses of poor blacks, they're gonna get your rich ass too.
Mm-hmm. That's right. That's right. Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what. I've been offered chances to get money from non-black corporations, but I've never wanted it. Because I'm not gonna let nobody come up in here and tell us what we can and can't talk about. I'm not participating in that. And the other thing too is, our strategy is what I call redirection of black dollars. Given that we have 1.3 trillion and we give away about 1.2 trillion of that. I just turn to our people and say, look, if you're spending money with white folks who care nothing about you, then I hope that you'll save something for black folks who show that we care about you. And it is a simple appeal like that. And it's not, and I'm not begging, I'm not asking for no charity. If you don't feel that whatever we offer you adds value to your life that doubles whatever you pay for it, then you should let us know. We'll give you your money back. We are not here to engage in any sort of, ridiculous coonery. We're here to just deal with you on the up and up, and that's what we do. And you guys know we laid it out there for you to evaluate for yourself. So thank you guys very much. Powernomics.com, that's Dr. Anderson's website. TheBlackFinancialChannel.com, that's where you can subscribe for daily black financial news and commentary from a black perspective. So make sure you subscribe, TheBlackFinancialChannel.com. Hit the thumbs up button, and thanks once again, Dr. Anderson. It was great seeing you, sir.
Thank you, buddy.
I'll see you next week.
I'll see you in a couple of weeks.
Yes, sir. All right. And I'll talk to you guys probably next time. I might talk to you is either on my way to Ghana or when I get there. So I'll let you guys know what I see, and see you soon. Take care. All right.
All right.
Bye,
Take
Dr.
care.
Anderson.
Bye-bye now.
All right. Bye-bye. See you guys later. I saw somebody made a donation, and then I didn't. I think I might have missed one. I apologize if I missed you. I'm gonna look down here and see if I can find. You know what? I'm scrolling and I don't see it. So if you did make a donation, I missed you. I'm so sorry. Here we go. DC. I want to say thank you, DC. Visit the Melanin Mix MIXX on Instagram. The Melanin Mix on IG. I'm a new up and coming black owned retail store, support black business. So DC, the Melanin Mix, mix is spelled with 2 X's instead of 1. So go check out the Melanin Mix, okay, and follow the Melanin Mix on Instagram. We got to support each other. It's very, very important. So take care, guys. Have a good day, and I'll see you soon. Be good. Peace.